Hey everybody, if you don't hate me yet, you're going to hate me. Today I'm going to probably do one of the hardest reviews I've ever had to do. And it's not hard because it's like ripping my heart out. It's hard because I don't know how to describe why I'm saying what I'm saying. And, sorry, my rabbit is staying by the dishwasher like, oh, hi, I'm just gonna sniff this. She's trying to make it easier on me. I'm gonna be reviewing Borderlands 2. And I'm having a hard time holding it, as you can tell. And the reason I'm having an issue trying to review it is because I loved the first one. It was funny, it was great, it was not perfectly balanced, it had its flaws, but it was definitely one of the better shooters out there for me. Well, RPG shooters. And while I can acknowledge Borderlands 2 makes steps forwards, for every step forward it takes 3 steps back. And I'm trying to figure out where to begin it. I'm going to get to the big one last, because obviously the big one's the one that bothers me the most. But in the gameplay, you know, the shooting's the same. They changed the UI or not the UI. The HUD is the same. But the option menu, oh yeah, the UI then, they changed so when you press start, everything is at this side of the screen. And it's all just grouped together. Imagine just watching this review and all my captions are right there. I'm trying to, there we go, I'm using the screen. Yeah, there we go. Just right in that corner of the screen. And you're looking at that going, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be paying attention to. And while it's great for a menu, the problem is it's cramped into an area this big. You can read everything, but it's just off to the side. When you go to your level select, updating your character, you see your character and you can go through the different menus and everything. The map, the objectives, level up, and challenges. And I liked that, except out of multiplayer it serves no purpose other than, hey, this is what your character looks like. And I think the reason they did that is because in this game you can actually change your character. You can change the head and the skin color. You can't change anything else, but you can do that. It's a start on customization, but it's not a whole hell of a lot. Now, to their credit, they added a whole hell of a lot to it, mainly on the skins, and I would have wished for more, but I understand why they don't have more. But with all those steps forward, they make several stupid decisions. They took a lot of checkpoints out. There are several times I'm at a boss battle, I die at the battle, only to restart the whole thing over again, and the boss is at full health by the time I reach it. Unlike Borderlands 1, where best example I can come up with is the first boss battle, I believe Sledge. You start off right outside his arena, and while his health regenerates, you still have a chance to beat him. You're right there, and there's machines right there to buy more ammo in case you need it. In this one, you start off the whole level and you have to fight everyone over again. There's one mission, Dr. Mercy. It's blatantly made for multiplayer. It's almost impossible to beat him without either another player or without an elemental weapon such as fire. Strategy guide I looked when I was at Target says use explosive. My roommate's boyfriend actually used acid. And they work. But you have to be smart enough or lucky enough to have those guns to beat them. And it completely changes the balance of the game entirely. And I honestly thought that was asshole-ish design. You have to see the checkpoints, some of the characters. I really, really did not understand why they advertise like more weapons in the first game. I got 3 weapons that were different names. It's like shooting this rifle, rusty rifle, and they all had the same stats. Eventually I did find a rifle that was completely different, but for the longest time every gun I was finding was the same gun of its type, just with a different name. And I think that's more or less because of the randomization. That's not necessarily fault through the developers. I have a video I'm going to upload later. The game's not perfect glitch-wise. There are some severe glitches at some points, but there are funny glitches, like one of my favorite characters, Ellie. I accidentally drove my car through her, and all you see is this car with her head sticking out like, oh hi! But I have to get to the biggest point. And this is where I was tossed up, because up to now the gameplay stuff, that's pet peeves. That's not going to hold me back from saying don't play the game, or play the game or don't play the game. What's holding me back is the story. And while I respect they try to go with a more cohesive story, one villain instead of 3 they had in the first game, because you had the Vault, you had the evil siren girl, then you had the other thing. They focus on Handsome Jack. Handsome Jack is the worst villain I have seen in video games. My roommate's boyfriend, he got further than I did at one point. He's like, oh yeah, he gets darker and he basically goes, oh, I want to kill you, I want to kill you. I've never reached that point in the game. Every 5 minutes of doing something, he's like, I'm great, I'm smarter than you, I'm evil. By the way, I'm great. At one point, he contacts me to go, well, this guy, one time he came after me with a spoon and I gouged his eyes out. He was still coming after me though, and he ended up finding his son. He gouged his son's eyes out, and I'm sitting there and he starts laughing maniacally, goes, maybe you had to be there, point is you're a bitch. I didn't know that was supposed to be the punchline. You're a bitch is the punchline to that. And again, that's personal taste. That's not my humor. I'm looking at that going, that's stupid. And it's not just the main story that rubbed me the wrong way. Some of the side missions, like Scooter is desperate, trying to get laid with everything. And at one point, you see this girl named Daisy. The whole game, you see her just standing there. She's wearing a blue top hat with a daisy in it. Scooter decides he wants to sleep with her, so he has you find stuff to write a poem. It's like a guy hanging, a robot, and a guy hugging, and something else. I can't remember what it was. Scooter writes the poem, gives it to you, says, have Daisy listen to it and wait for her reaction. She listens to it. It's a god-awful poem. She looks at you, grabs a gun, says, excuse me for a moment, goes inside her house and shoots herself. It's funny because, you know, she shot herself. Or because Scooter's hideous. I don't know. It was... To me, it was more offensive than funny. And while the game does have its funny moments, it's held back by this asinine story of... Well, not necessarily an asinine story. The story would be great if it could decide whether to be dark and serious or a parody and funny, like they said it was going to be. And they tried too hard to mix them together. They tried too hard to make Handsome Jack this funny, over-the-top villain, which either way he isn't. He's just annoying. and at the same time trying to make it dark and edgy, and it's just like, it doesn't succeed at either of them. And the problem is, I see the potential for a good story on either end of the game. It's just the way the script is written, the characters are written. Some of the stuff was blatantly thrown in, like one of the characters from that you meet in the game dies for no reason other than to say, see, Handsome Jack is bad. Another character who aids a character constantly dies just to go, oh, Handsome Jack is evil, see this? And it just feels so ham-fisted, like they're trying to rub it in. He's this evil son of a bitch, and you have to hate him. And I'm like, I hate him because he annoys the living hell out of me. I don't need a reason where he's this evil, murderous villain. I don't. That's a completely different game. Put that in, like, Resident Evil or something. If Wesker did that crap, that'd be great. In Borderlands, where it's supposed to be funny adult humor, and you're making it juvenile, all of a sudden you have this dark, or, dark motive in there. It doesn't work. It clashes too much with the theme of Borderlands. And it's sad for me to say, because there's definitely a good game in there somewhere. They fixed the balance issues, which they could patch up. They did with the first one, if I remember right. Hell, they did it with Dead Island. If they had, polished the script, it would be a good game. And, again, the story, a lot of that's going to be personal preference. If you have a different opinion, then you have a different opinion. I'm not going to hold that against you. But, as I stand, it's too catty-cornered for me, in a way. It just doesn't mesh. The story was too hodgepodged for what it was supposed to be. And if they're going to make a third game, I suggest they straighten that out. I suggest they straighten out what mood it's supposed to be in. If they're going to go with dark humor, go with dark humor. If they're going to go with serious, go with serious. If they're going to go with straight parody, go with straight parody. Don't hammer them together half-assedly and say, hey, this game's great. You're going to play it because you liked the first one. Because I loved the first game. First game I sold so I could buy the Greatest Hit collection and get the DLC for like $30, as well as the whole game. This one, I'd wait for a cheaper version of it. If you like a series or head-on story that knows where it's going, don't get this game. And a lot of it, I think, is because I pick side missions, but even then, I'll put this game down and then come back to it and go, wait, what was the story again? It's because of this, one, the side missions, and two, because I can't tell what the theme is at any moment, if it's serious, if it's funny. Unlike Darksiders 2, where I could put that down, come back and go, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. That's the other thing about Borderlands 2, it's just not memorable for me. Hate me if you must, but that's just my thoughts. If you're a fan of the first game, you want to see what the second one has to offer, by all means, get it. But if you are expecting a cohesive story, I'd wait. I really wait till it's bargain bin or until they release the full edition with all the DLC at a better price. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I will see you guys later.